You might have seen us online. 3 guys, same dark hair, same jawline. Some people say we look like brothers. They're not wrong. We went viral once, on OnlyFans of all places. People said we had chemistry, like we were made for each other. Some said we looked too much alike. Joked we were family. We laughed it off. Then the DNA test came in, and everything changed. This isn't just a story about love or lust. It's about what happens when the truth shatters the life you built, and how you put the pieces back together, even when they don't fit the way they used to. We thought we knew who we were. We had no idea.
Everyone said we looked alike. I'd heard it for years, at restaurants, parties, even from my mom. You and Ryan could pass for brothers. We'd just laugh. Ryan and I had been together for a decade. I met him when I was 24 years old. He is 4 years younger, more sarcastic, and way more stylish, but yeah, we had the same eyes, similar smiles. I never thought anything of it until he said, "Let's do one of those DNA kits. Just for fun." I agreed. What were the odds? The odds were everything. 2 weeks later, I opened my email and saw those words, half-sibling match, 27.2% shared DNA. I stared at the screen, waiting to wake up. My heart stopped. Ryan walked in behind me. "What is it?" I couldn't speak. Just turned the laptop so he could see.
It felt like the floor dropped out from under me. Half-brothers? Jake was the love of my life. My best friend. The person I thought I'd marry someday. But that result, it made everything ugly. I wanted to scream, cry, throw something. Instead, I just sat on the floor, knees to my chest, trying to breathe. We didn't touch each other that night. Didn't say much. We just sat on opposite ends of the couch like 2 strangers trying to process the same car crash.
I confronted my dad 3 days later. We were in the garage, his safe place. I told him about the test. About Ryan. He didn't deny it. Just closed his eyes, as if he'd been waiting for this moment to arrive. "I made a mistake," he said. "A long time ago. I didn't know about him." I wanted to scream. But I didn't. I just walked out.
When Jake came home, he looked older, like the weight of everything had settled into his bones. He sat next to me and whispered, he didn't know. Not really. I nodded, but inside, nothing felt better. We were still related. We were still us, except we couldn't be. Not anymore. We took a break. Jake moved into his brother's place for a while. Said he needed space to think. I told him I understood, but I cried like hell when he left. Every time I saw his toothbrush still in the holder or his old hoodie on the chair, it felt like mourning. People asked questions, friends, co-workers. "You and Jake okay?" I didn't know how to say, "We're fine," except we found out we're half-brothers, and now we're emotionally wrecked. So I lied.
Being away from Ryan didn't help like I thought it would. It made me realize just how much of my life had been wrapped up in him. And how much I missed him, even if I didn't know what we were anymore. I started therapy. Needed someone to tell me it was okay to grieve something no one prepares you for. I didn't regret our past. But I hated what the truth had done to it.
He texted me one night. "Want to meet at the pier?" I almost didn't go, but I did. It was cold, and we stood in silence for a while, staring out at the water. "I miss you," he said. I swallowed hard. "I miss you too." Jake turned to me, eyes wet. "I don't know what we're allowed to be anymore, but I don't want to pretend like you never mattered. I don't either." We didn't kiss. We didn't hold hands. But we stood close, shoulder to shoulder, and watched the tide roll in. And for the first time in weeks, we didn't feel so alone.
I told myself I wouldn't cry. I told myself this was just closure. We were just going to talk like adults, maybe say goodbye, maybe finally make peace with what we couldn't change. But when Ryan opened the door and I saw his face, eyes red, cheeks sunken, like sleep hadn't visited him in weeks, I broke. He didn't say anything. Just let me in, and suddenly we were standing there in the middle of the living room, 10 years of memories echoing around us. The way he used to sing while making pancakes. The way he curled into me when he slept. The way he always knew when something was wrong. I looked at him, really looked, and the dam cracked. "I don't know how to do this," I whispered. He stepped closer. "Me either." And then we were in each other's arms, and everything shattered.
The second he touched me, I collapsed into him. I tried to be strong. I tried to be rational. I tried to move on like people said I should. But nothing filled the hole Jake left behind. And now he was here, holding me like I was something he was afraid to lose again. I love you, I sobbed. I love you, Jake. I don't care what the DNA says. I didn't fall in love with my brother. I fell in love with you. The person. The soul. His grip tightened. He was shaking. I need you, he choked. I wake up every day feeling like I can't breathe without you. And I hate what this has done to us. But I can't pretend I don't still want a future with you. Even if it's just as friends or family or... God, I don't even know. I just need you in my life. I can't be just your friend, I said through tears. I can't look at you and pretend I don't remember what we had. What we are. He nodded, tears running down his face. Then let's just be, however we need to be. Just don't shut me out. We sank to the floor, arms still around each other, sobbing like children, like all the heartbreak, confusion, and love had finally caught up to us and demanded to be felt all at once.
We stayed like that for a long time. Neither of us had answers. Nothing about this situation made sense. But there, in that moment, holding the only person who ever felt like home, I realized something. We didn't have to have it all figured out. We just had to stop pretending we were okay without each other. More matches started rolling in. First 1. Then 3. Then 7. All half-siblings. All people I'd never met. Some from nearby towns. One from 2 states over. Same biological father, mine. And by extension, Ryan's. We made a private group chat with a few of them, people just as shocked, just as hurt, just as confused. Some had known they were adopted. Some had no clue. One girl said her mom told her she was a miracle baby from a donor clinic. I didn't have the heart to tell her the donor was a married man from small-town Pennsylvania. Ryan and I lay in bed one night, our fingers intertwined, staring at the ceiling. We should meet them, he said softly. They're family. I nodded. Yeah, but how do we explain us? He turned toward me, eyes glossy but calm. We don't. Not to them. Not yet. It made sense. It still hurt.
It wasn't about shame. We weren't ashamed of each other. What we had was real. 10 years of love, laughter, struggles, and healing. This new truth didn't erase that. It just complicated it and made other people's perceptions a minefield we weren't ready to walk through. The world doesn't understand nuance. They reduce us to a headline or a taboo. So we decided only his dad would know. For now.
We met in the same garage. I brought the list of names, the screenshots of matches, the paper trail that kept getting longer. You have other kids, I said flatly. Dad didn't react. Not at first. Just ran a hand through his thinning hair and stared at the concrete. He didn't deny it. Instead, he let out a breath like he'd been holding it for decades. We went to parties, he finally said. Back in the 80s. 90s. Swingers. Key parties. You name it. I blinked. What? Your mom knew, he added quickly. It was something we did for a while. An agreement. A secret. But it stopped. Or, at least, she thought it did. I felt sick. You always acted like we were a Christian family. Church every Sunday. Bible verses on the wall. You preached to me about values, about sex before marriage. He had the nerve to look ashamed. People change. Or pretend to. I convinced myself it was behind me. But it wasn't. And now I have 7, maybe more, siblings I didn't know existed. And one of them, Ryan, he's not just a brother. He froze. What do you mean? I mean we're together. Still. We never would have started if we'd known. But now? Now it's been 10 years. That doesn't just disappear because of DNA. His eyes searched mine. I couldn't tell if he was disgusted or just stunned. I don't know how to feel, he whispered. Welcome to the club, I said, and walked away.
We met a few of them the next weekend. Casual, friendly, a park in Harrisburg. We smiled and hugged and said we were cousins. And in a way, that was true. We didn't hold hands. Didn't give anything away. But later, driving home, I looked at Jake and said, "We're not wrong. You know that, right?" He looked over. "Tell me again." I touched his hand. "We are not wrong." And I saw it in his eyes. He believed me. Maybe for the first time. Fully. I didn't recognize him at first. We were at another sibling meetup. This one in Pittsburgh, at a neutral little brew pub with outdoor seating and mismatched chairs. Casual, low-key. Just a bunch of strangers trying to figure out what it means to be family when DNA connects you, but nothing else does. His name was Eli. Tall, lean, tatted arms. There was something about him, something that made my skin prickle. Halfway through the second beer, he pulled me aside. "You don't remember me, do you?" he asked. I gave a polite shrug. "Not really." "Should I?" He gave me a half smile. Not smug, not cruel, but not innocent either. Electric church, back room, 2 for 1 tequila night. You were so wasted. You kept calling me baby before we even kissed. We went home together. I blinked. My stomach twisted. He let it sink in. "I remembered you the second I saw your face," he said. "But when I saw the DNA match, it hit me like a brick. We hooked up years ago, and we're half-brothers."
Ryan was pale when he told me. He remembered everything, Jake. The bar. The apartment. That, God, I don't even know what we did. I don't remember it. I didn't know what to say. We sat on the couch, silent stretching, both of us realizing this story kept twisting deeper. I should have been shocked. But after everything? I was just tired. "We wouldn't have done any of this if we'd known," he whispered. "I know. But now we do know. And we're still here." I held his hand. And then Eli showed up at our place the next night.
"I've been thinking," he said, standing in our doorway with his arms crossed. "You two are in a relationship. I get it. 10 years. It's love. Cool. We didn't say anything. Just waited for the but. But have either of you considered adding someone else to it?" Ryan blinked. "What are you saying?" "I mean, we're all grown-ups here. We're all technically related. But let's be real, so are you two. And it didn't stop you." Jake stood up. "You're talking about a throuple with your half-brothers." I shrugged. "Look, I'm not saying it's normal, but nothing about this situation is. And I felt something back then. I still feel it. I'm just putting it out there. You don't have to say yes. But don't pretend the thought hasn't crossed your minds."
It hadn't, but now it had. And I hated that part of me didn't immediately recoil. Part of me was curious. Part of me remembered how deeply we'd all been messed up by years of secrets, repression, shame. Our dad had built a foundation of lies, and now we were standing in the rubble trying to rebuild something honest from it. "Let's say we did consider it," I said quietly. "How the hell will we ever explain it to Dad?" Eli gave a slow, wicked grin. "I was hoping you'd ask."
We didn't tiptoe into it. We didn't have long talks with therapists or write pro/con lists. It just happened. First it was dinners. Then sleepovers. Then mornings with all three of us in bed, laughing over burnt toast and bad coffee. Love, complicated, confusing, probably insane, had found a way to bloom in the middle of a broken family tree. We were a throuple now. 3 half-brothers. In love. And we were going to tell Dad.
"Are you sure?" I asked Eli. "I mean, you brought this idea up, but are you ready to look that man in the eye and tell him you're dating your half-brothers?" Eli grinned. "Please, this is going to be the least weird conversation that man's had. Dad's house hadn't changed in decades. Still had that mounted deer head from his hunting days. Still smelled like pipe tobacco and Old Spice. He opened the door in a t-shirt that said, 'If I'm not fishing, I'm thinking about it.' 'Boys,' he said, 'all 3 of you. What's this, an ambush?' Jake coughed. Something like that. We sat in the living room. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Then Eli did what Eli always did. He ripped off the Band-Aid. 'We're in a relationship,' he said. 'All 3 of us. Like together.' Dad stared, blinked, lit a cigarette even though he hadn't smoked in years. Then he laughed. 'Dad, well, hell,' he said. 'The good news is none of y'all are going to get pregnant. So we're not looking at a deliverance situation.' We blinked. 'I mean, yeah, it's weird,' he added, 'but boys, life is weird. You think I didn't dabble back in the day? Swingers clubs weren't all hot tubs and margaritas. Sometimes it was Ron from accounting with a tight ass and no shame.' Jake choked on his water. Ryan looked like someone had unplugged his brain. 'Your mother knew,' Dad said. 'She didn't like it, but she looked the other way. We were a team. That's what marriage is.' 'And the gay part?' Ryan finally asked. Dad took a drag. 'I like what I like. Didn't realize it was genetic, but it tracks.' Then he looked at each of us and said the one thing none of us expected to hear. As long as you boys are happy, I don't give a damn.
I was proud. We left that house lighter than we came in, so I decided to celebrate. There was a private party that weekend. A little kinky, a little wild. But I figured, hey, if we were going to be a scandal, we might as well own it. I didn't tell Jake or Ryan the details. Just said it was an exclusive, members-only kind of place. Something we could do together. We showed up dressed in black. Eyes wide, hearts racing. We made it past the velvet curtain, through the haze of incense and sweat and bass-heavy music. And that's when we saw him.
It was Dad, naked, pinned between at least 4 other men, laughing, shouting, "Take a number, boys." I froze. Jake turned around so fast, he almost tripped. Eli just stood there, arms crossed, muttering, "I knew it." Dad spotted us and waved. "Oh," he shouted. "Didn't know y'all were coming. Small world."
We didn't stay. We drove home in silence, the sound of tires humming on the highway louder than anything either of us could say. Until Ryan whispered, "You think this is normal?" Eli laughed softly. "No. But when have we ever been?"
A few days later, we went camping at the cabin. Jake and I had been there before, several times, actually, but this was Eli's first time. He was quiet the whole drive up, staring out the window like the trees might give him answers I couldn't. The cabin wasn't much. 1 floor, a creaky porch, a fire pit out back. But it was ours, a place where the world stopped spinning long enough for us to breathe. The rain started around dusk. Not a storm, just soft, steady drops tapping the windows like a heartbeat. Inside, the fire crackled low, casting golden light across Bear's shoulders in quiet glances. Jake was curled up on the floor near the hearth, barefoot, hair still damp from the walk we took earlier. Eli stood by the window for a long time before finally sitting beside me on the couch. No one spoke for a while. We didn't need to. There was a stillness in the room that felt sacred, like the air itself knew we were rebuilding something fragile. I watched Eli's eyes as he looked around the room, at the old books stacked on the shelves, at the wool blanket Jake had pulled off the bed, at the photo of me and Jake on the wall. He smiled at it, then looked at me. "You've been coming here a long time," he said softly. Yeah, I nodded. It always felt like a place where nothing bad could reach us. Eli leaned his head on my shoulder. Feels like that now. Jake turned to us, propped up on one elbow, eyes sleepy but warm. It's weird. I thought bringing someone else here would make it feel different. But it doesn't. It just feels fuller. And God, I knew what he meant. Eli didn't take anything away. He just added to it. To us. To this. I reached over and brushed my fingers through Eli's hair. Jake got up and sat on the other side of me, his hand finding mine instinctively. 3 of us. Quiet. Breathing the same air. Letting the fire speak for us. No confessions. No apologies. Just a steady rhythm of love finding its way through the cracks. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I don't know how to explain it or justify it to anyone else. But here, in this moment, with the rain and the fire and the 2 people I love most in the world beside me, it just feels right.
The rain had turned to mist by the time we blew out the last candle. The cabin was dark except for the ember glow of the fireplace, casting soft shadows that danced across the walls like memories. Jake kissed me first. Slow, intentional, his lips warm against mine, the smell of wood smoke clinging to his skin. He always kissed like he was grounding me, reminding me I was real, that we were real. Then Ryan's hand slid up my back, his voice low against my ear. "You okay?" I nodded. I was trembling, but not from fear, from everything else. From knowing this wasn't just lust. From realizing I was finally letting go. Jake's mouth found the curve of my shoulder, while Ryan pressed kisses along my neck, both of them surrounding me, steadying me, worshiping me like I was something sacred. I felt like I was. Their hands knew me now, every freckle, every scar. They mapped me like I was their favorite secret. And I wanted them to know all of me. I gave them everything. I didn't hold back. Afterward, we lay tangled in a knot of blankets and skin, our breathing slow and heavy in the quiet room. I was on my back, one arm stretched toward the ceiling like I was still reaching for something I couldn't name. Jake was curled into my side, Lips pressed my chest. Ryan lay across my legs, face buried in the crook of my hip. My body ached, but it was a beautiful ache. One that came from being loved too deeply, too fully, all at once. My chest tightened. Not from pain, but from the fullness of it all. I felt wrecked. Not just physically, but emotionally. Like a dam had broken open inside me. I don't think I've ever felt this close to anyone, I whispered, not even sure if I meant one of them or both. Maybe it didn't matter. Jake lifted his head. It's not just you. Ryan reached up and laced his fingers with mine. You let us in, Eli. All the way in. That means everything. And I let the tears come. Just a few. Quiet ones. Not because I was sad, but because I'd finally felt like I belong. I just hope they feel the same.